Hello, you're watching Kel67 Gaming. Thank you to everyone who voted on Best Game of 2010. If you haven't already, please make sure you do so. Just click on the video and
Obviously.
cast your vote.
Yeah.
But what we're doing now is we're going to have a look at the best games
Of 2011.
So 2011 was a reasonably good year for video games. We've got some heavy hitters this year.
Quite a few, but shall we get started?
I think we should. I think the first and most obvious, Skyrim came out in 2011.
In 2011,
It's still coming out today on different systems. I think it's been ported to everything.
it's weird because it's actually been.
You can even play it in virtual reality.
Yeah, you
now.
can play it in virtual reality. You can play it on your Switch on the go. You can play it on obviously the Xbox and PS3. You can play it on basically everything. It's just how massive the game is, and obviously it's just tons.
Well, we've only actually got it on Xbox 360, I think. Have we got more than one copy of it? I think we've only got one.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which is a bit strange, but that means that we can discuss it from a point of view of we own the game.
It's a massive game.
It's a massive open. It's billed as an open world RPG game.
And it's.
Me personally, I prefer JRPGs. So I don't know if I would call it an RPG. It's kind of more like a hack and slash with RPG elements. Massive open world, although not as big as Morrowind. But then that was just procedurally generated, wasn't it? That wasn't actually designed.
And obviously being part of the Elder Scrolls series, there is still Elder Scrolls games coming out, isn't there? I believe the online.
Well, there's the online.
Yeah, there's the online, which is still constantly getting different parts, isn't it?
I think
that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Skyrim, aren't we?
I think Skyrim coming as a follow up to Oblivion. I think you have to make the comparison between the two. They're both done on the same hardware. But you can see the technical advances of Skyrim. But just
and there's still
it's a much greater game in vision and scale than Oblivion was.
And I believe there's still people playing it, finding stuff out about it.
There probably is, and the fact that it's still being released, just shows you the longevity that game's got.
And it's still actually, it's not like one of those where it's because it's obviously 9 year old. It's still got actually a decent price on it, hasn't it?
Well, it depends what system you get it for.
Yeah.
I have to say that again we're looking at a kind of medieval fantasy world, which not really my thing, but I can absolutely appreciate the scope of the game and just the freedom that it allows you. You can get lost in this game for days. That's a sign of a good RPG, that you can just get lost in the game for days.
That is just what Skyrim is, isn't it?
Yes, that's what it's all about. What else came out this year?
I'm not quite sure.
What about Valve was still releasing games in 2011. I wish they were still releasing games because Valve.
No, apparently they're making a new one. At some point.
Don't even say Half-Life 3 because if they ever make.
No, it's not.
But, in 2011, they did release Portal 2. No, I didn't play a huge amount of this, but from what little I did play, it seemed like quite a clever puzzle game.
I actually quite liked it. I played it, I believe, a little, like 2 years ago maybe, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's actually really fun.
So what did you think? Because obviously you've played this after the initial hype of the game.
Yeah, I believe.
You weren't caught up in that, you just played it.
I played it and I thought obviously it's got the really unique mechanic of obviously having just puzzles and then you have to solve it with obviously your portal gun, and it's like I quite enjoyed it, and I unlocked quite a bit of the achievements. Obviously playing on 360, and it was just a overall fun experience for me just to go through it.
Oh, there you go. Anyone who's played Portal 2 will know all about it, and don't need us to tell you what happens. Third game. What about the third game? Uncharted 3.
Uncharted 3.
Now, you played an awful lot of this.
Wasn't it the first Uncharted I played?
It wasn't actually. You did play
the second one first.
Uncharted 2 first.
Yeah, I played the second one and then the third.
When you got to this one, the multiplayer suite still had a lot of players
Yeah.
in, and you got really involved in that.
I completed the campaign and then I went on the multiplayer, and it did. I had tons of players, and obviously there are still players just like me going to it and playing it. But
I think for me, Uncharted's where I kind of expected Tomb Raider to be. Where Tomb Raider went off the rails, but Uncharted got that exploration, gameplay, mechanic thing done brilliantly. Nathan Drake was every bit as good a protagonist as Lara Croft was before. This particular game, I actually think I prefer to, but that doesn't mean this is by any way a bad game. I think
it's actually a really good game.
This is the one where you play as a child as well, and you rob the museum. Is that right?
I believe so. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, it's been a little while since I've played it, and I actually don't believe I played the first one yet. So I need to go back and play that.
Well, anyone who hasn't played the Uncharted games, and you've got PS Plus, have a look and see what your free game is this week, this month. If you're watching it at a time of release, of course. Disclaimer: this is January 2020.
Yes, this is.
That's what you get on PS Plus. So yeah, there was that. What else did we have this year?
Ooh, didn't we have Gears 3 this year?
We might have done, but Gears of War is another game that completely passes me by because I don't play shooters.
Oh, it doesn't pass me by. I love Gears of War 3. Coincidentally, I played the second one, I believe, first. But the third one's the one that I fell in love with the series for. Just the overall story I loved, and it's one of those that it's like I've been going back through the original Gears of War series, obviously them being on Game Pass, and I'm still in the second one, but as soon as I get a third one, I'll never get off it, and I believe there's still players on multiplayer.
So where does Gears of 3 rank amongst the Gears of War games? Is it the best one?
I'd say it's...
I don't know, because I've never played them.
Ooh, I'd probably say it's either second or it's just in the middle. Because it's actually one of the best, but I'd say the newer ones, like 5 and 4, it's like... Whereas the story is brilliant in 3, it's just the gameplay mechanics in 4 and 5.
Oh, well, I guess
it's
that's
good. And then obviously the story's good, yeah. So it's like 3's in the middle for me, really. But it's how I fell in love with Gears of War.
I'll tell you what else we got in 2011.
What?
Dark Souls. Now, in 2010 we got Hard as Nails platforming action with Super Meat Boy. But
in 2011, if you thought you were good at Meat Boy, you played Dark Souls and you were like...
The difficulty was ramped up just horrendously for Dark Souls. If you like dying a lot, this is your game.
Considering, was it the first or second that had an edition called Prepare to Die Edition?
But I don't know.
And obviously...
But yeah, I mean, if you're going to play Dark Souls, you're going to die a lot.
You're going to die a lot, obviously. I've played it and I went back to it, and I enjoy it, but it's so frustrating. Obviously being remastered for this generation of consoles is the first one, and the second one was as well. Yeah. But
I did play a little bit of this and, let's say, died a lot. I absolutely appreciate the game and what it is, but it just frustrates the hell out of me when you go onto YouTube and see the little Japanese kid that plays the game on a Guitar Hero controller and beats everyone. God, he's an annoying little shit.
There's tons of people who can just do it with the most random things, but then there's just those people who can speedrun it, and when I look at them and it's like, I hate when they're so cocky that they can do it with without armor. And like they do it with the worst weapon and no shield, and I hate it because I'm like, oh, I can't even do it with full armor and everything. And it's just like I can appreciate how they're good at it because VR playing it, it's hard as anything, and
Oh, it's
really
hard as nails, there's no doubt
just
about
to get good at semi decent at it is tough, but to get really good to the point where you can speedrun it and everything, that's just impressive.
it. Well, it was released in 2011
Yeah.
and
Still holds a community.
it certainly does. Another great game. Rockstar knocked it out the park again with Noire. This is another game that's seen re-releases very recently.
I've actually,
as well.
I've got the remaster, I believe, for Xbox
Possibly.
at some point
I
somewhere, and
know
it's
we've definitely got it on both PS3 and on Xbox 360 because when it first came out, I loved this game, and I had to play through it twice.
yeah, and you can only do a playthrough on the channel if you
Well,
just want to go watch it at some point.
If you're currently playing the game and you're stuck on a particular mission, I may be able to help you out with a playlist that's on the channel.
Yeah.
Feel free to check that out. But like I say, it was
Obviously, if you're later in the game, obviously.
Rockstar knocking it out of the park game. This one, although you can play it as an open world game, I've always tended to play it more as a series of missions or a series of levels, if you will. Which is not something that Rockstar's very renowned for, I have to say.
No, they tend to like base theirs off. It's like you can play the campaign just straight away and complete that, but they try and encourage the open world aspects of each of their games.
And there is some of that. I mean, you have to go around and see all the famous landmarks and that. And because this isn't a fictional version of Los Angeles, that we're not going to Los Santos here. This is actually Los Angeles, so you can see the real things you see. Well, because it's based in the 40s, you can see the Hollywood Land sign and things like that. It's just I love the game. I even love Cole Phelps, even though he's not the most likable protagonist. He's a little bit too. I don't even know what the word is. He's not. He's not happy-go-lucky. He's too serious. But I just loved the game. So there was that. Also this year, Nintendo hit it out the park again on underpowered hardware with The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword.
No.
This is a divisive Zelda game amongst Zelda fans, of which I'm not particularly one, I have to say. I just like this as a game. This had the waggly stick motion controls, which is what I think people don't like so much about it. For me,
I mean,
I love the story. I love the setting with the islands in the sky. I love the art style. It was kind of like the watercolour painting.
I mean, I even played it, I believe, recently, and it's like I actually enjoyed it. And I remember when we went to Ryan, I actually bought a Skyward Sword Link statue.
You did.
As well, so.
I don't know if it's a great Zelda game.
I haven't played
because
too
I
many.
haven't played enough of them to say.
I believe it's a good game, but it's game. I can't compare it to other Legend of Zelda games.
Yeah. I know it gets a lot of hate from the Zelda fan community. Maybe if it was a new IP, it would have been well received. I just really I loved everything about it. Like I say, the art style, the storyline. I'm never going to be a massive fan of the waggly controller, sword swiping controls, but you can put up with that because it's one game.
It's only just one.
And everything else about the game makes it worth your while to put up with that one little niggly thing. So we had that. What else might we have had this year?
I'm not quite sure.
Well, I tell you what. After Minecraft done so well, there was a lot of Minecraft clones. But actually the one that stood out for me more than any other was Terraria.
Oh, I played a lot of this. I did indeed.
So this was basically 2D Minecraft. Now
Yes,
this shouldn't have worked coming out after Minecraft.
it shouldn't have, but it did, and it's there's still actually a community for it. I'm on Xbox, and it's like I go to the community tab sometimes, and I'll see community 505, and they're still posting about Terraria. And then you've got the clubs of them on Xbox, and there's tons. So it's like there's still a heavy community, and it's like for those Game Pass owners, it is on there if you ever want to try it.
I just remember when you were younger, this was kind of the only game that got you off Minecraft. It was another one that I don't think it ever got quite as big as Minecraft, but it was one of those things that all the kids latched on to and
Yeah, it was
let
like-
their imagination go wild.
It was one of those fun things where you could just get on with some friends and play, really.
Although I do seem to remember you were a bit more focused on Terraria than you are in Minecraft. You played it more like a game. On Minecraft, you built things and it's kind of just letting your imagination go. But with Terraria, I seem to remember you actually played the game.
Yeah. I
Um,
remember little chunks of it, but it's like,
but like Minecraft as well, I remember it was on everything.
yeah, it's
I had to have it on my phone as well, so you could play it when we were out.
yeah, but it's just another one of those like those open
sandbox
worlds.
game.
Yeah, it's one of those that's really good, but it's like obviously you're saying it shouldn't work, but it doesn't.
Well, it shouldn't work, not after, because Minecraft done it in 3D.
Minecraft done
So
it in 3D,
going
so
back
going
to 2D
back,
after that, in my opinion, it shouldn't work because people should be expecting the next thing. They shouldn't be going backwards all the time.
they should
but
be
it just-
expecting more of like a realistic
But
version,
people
maybe.
did
But
just grab on it, and it just.
and I mean,
If you're one of those people who love Terraria, then you love Terraria.
it's just one of those things. You're always somewhere in the spectrum of it, and I mean, it's actually a really good game, and I believe it's one of the best games of 2011.
Well, we're talking about it, so it must be.
Yeah.
Another game that I think we need to mention here, Dead Island. Dead Island came out to massive hype. See, you're a little too young to remember the hype around this game when it came out, and a lot of people seem a bit like a Fable game, although we didn't have Peter Molyneux telling lots of crap about it. But people just expected it to be far more than it ended up being. However,
Is it one of those where if you look at it for what it is instead of
if you
what
play
you
it for
think it
what it
should
is,
have been,
yeah, it's
for
exactly
what
what
you
it is.
think it is,
If you play it for what it is instead of
what you think it
having a
should
look to
have
see
been,
what you wanted it to be, you're not going to be disappointed. You've got a massive game area. You're not completely overwhelmed with zombies, which means that you can really
kind
have,
of explore.
you can do some exploration, getting supplies and what have you. You know, you can take the zombies out at your leisure at times. Sometimes it gets a bit hairy, but there are the odd zombies, just wandering around on their own. So it's not like Dead Rising where it's always like massive crowds.
Yeah, it's like flooded or.
So you can pick out the odd one on its own and then just take your time, killing them in as inventive a way as you can find.
Yeah, so basically your methods are only up to your imagination, I guess.
Yes. And again, it's one of those you love it for what it is, or you hate it because you wanted it to be something different. I just played it for what it was and enjoyed it.
Well, there you have it. That's all that really matters, if you play it for what it is.
Another game that came out, Infamous 2 on the PS3.
Ooh. I played the original Infamous. I can't remember playing the second one.
Well, I mean, Infamous was really Sony's flagship, exclusive at the time, and it was kind of, if this game hadn't been made, I don't think you would have got SpiderMan.
Well, the new one.
The new one. I don't think that. I think that this is what it was kind of building up to. I loved the whole experience, the whole open world where you could go around the city, developing new superpowers
Oh,
as well.
but couldn't
We
you
going
also...
around an open world city as a superhero. Now it's one thing going around just as an ordinary fella
But you
with
can
a
also be a
pistol in your
villain,
pocket.
in it, can't you?
You can.
It's one of those where you can choose your path
You
and
play it the way you
you
want to play
make
it.
the choices, and that affects your character. Obviously, Cole wasn't his name or something.
And what you also have to remember though is with games that came after and like the legacy that these games had. Like I say, Spider-Man's the obvious one. I don't think that would have happened without the infamous games. But like you say, that whole thing with the morality choices, that is now almost commonplace in that kind of open world game now.
It is.
And you possibly wouldn't have had that without Infamous either. It was a great game. Again, if you played it, you'll remember. I think you'll remember it fondly. You might not. In that case, it's not your game of the year. but for me, it's got to be right
Yeah,
up there.
it is a really good game and a really good franchise of games, but then again, it's just one of those things where it's like it's like for most it'll be either you love it or you hate it, but it is one of those games where I like it, but obviously the morality choices is quite groundbreaking in some games when you'll think it's just a story, but then when you realise your choices affect it, it's just one of those where it's like, that's amazing.
It certainly is. Now I think we can make a little bit of time in this video to talk about what I think could be a couple of very personal choices. The first one is the Codemasters game Dirt 3.
I've never played a Dirt game.
I don't know what... I mean, I've always loved arcade racing games. And to me, this was the closest that we got to a Sega Rally on this generation of hardware. We actually did get a Sega Rally game, but it wasn't the same joy as the
original
Sega Rally games on the Saturn and on the Dreamcast. But this one I just absolutely loved. I also loved the huge number of cars that you could get, and not just modern cars but old cars as well. So like, for me, seeing a Renault 5 or especially the Lancia Delta, because of the whole Sega Rally thing, was just brilliant. So that for me was a great game. I know you didn't play it.
No, I've never played a Dirt game, I don't believe, but obviously it's because I don't play that many racing games.
But I loved it, and I played and completed it on both PS3 and on Xbox 360. It was another one of those games where
it just enticed you into it and you played it.
Once wasn't enough. Another game, which is one that you, I think, like a lot, is Binding of Isaac came out.
Yeah, did it really in 2011? Oh, no, I played the PS4 version of it now, and it's absolutely awesome. Just the fact of being like, I mean, the story aspect, when you really think about it, it's a weird aspect to it, but
I don't think the story's the main thing.
No, it's the gameplay, really.
It's again, it's an indie game doing what indie games can do really well, taking a concept that probably a lot of people thought was outdated, and it's this kind of room-to-room arena shooter.
Yeah, it's a room.
It's very
shooter.
very reminiscent, if you haven't played it, of Smash TV. I don't think you know Smash TV.
I do know it, but I've never played it. But yeah, it's just the fact of like, you start off as Isaac, obviously Binding of Isaac, but you can unlock other characters. I mainly played as...
You get all the power-ups.
Yeah, it's like you go through, and if there's a door with a crown, that means there's an item in it. Apart from the first floor,
and every game's done in one sitting, and it's quite quick.
Yeah.
So it's that one more run, one more go kind of game.
Yeah, it's that thing, and it's like there's constant unlocks to it, where it's like every time you beat it, like the first time you get to the end, and it's a first ending, but each time you get a different thing, and you keep on going, and you unlock more stages, and then you unlock more items. only to then unlock more characters. It's absolutely brilliant. It still has a massive community. It still has a massive mod support, and it's like
I think it started out just as a Flash game, didn't it?
It-
And it just
yeah.
snowballed from there. People kind of grabbed onto it. Like I say, indie games doing what indie games do really well. It was an outdated concept that no one else was doing, and like for people of your generation, you were discovering this type of game for the first time. For people of my generation, it was like, oh, I remember Smash TV, and it just right game at the right time, I think.
But yeah, just like it's one of those really good games, and I believe it is one of those best games. Obviously, being in 2011, but yeah, just that it's still getting updated, and I believe they're having one last DLC of it. But obviously having Afterbirth and Afterbirth Plus. But yeah, it's just one of those really good games, and
it keeps getting re-released.
and it's on Switch as well now.
It is. So it's
It's one of those.
it's lasted.
Yeah, it's lasted its time, hasn't it?
Another game that that we saw this year. Which one are we going to go with?
Ooh.
We'll go with Space Marine first.
Oh, the Warhammer game.
Warhammer 40,000. I love the Warhammer 40,000 universe. This was a shooter that I actually played a bit of, just because of the setting.
Ooh, I love this game, and I remember playing it on 360 and loving it. Obviously, being the game that it is, but I'm obviously me not being entirely invested into the Warhammer and the Warhammer 40,000, story sort of thing. It's like it was just a nice thing to see a game that obviously I don't understand.
Well, for someone like you who played Gears of War a lot, I think it was quite a similar game, wasn't it?
It was quite similar, so I could easily get into it and then follow the story from there. And I believe it's just one of those where it's like, even if you don't know Warhammer, if you know this sort of like third person shooty sort of stuff like that, then you most likely either gonna like it or you're gonna not like it. You can be in the middle if you want, but it's like most likely
I think it's quite well remembered.
if you enjoy it, you're not really invested in the story. You can obviously learn through the story.
I think it's quite well remembered, but I don't think it gets talked about
as much as it should,
as
potentially.
much as other games. I think we'll have a little chat through one more game, and a fighting game. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was 2011.
Oh, 2011. Now we've got this on the Vita, haven't we?
Yes, we've got it on the Vita.
Now I love this, and I always go to one team and one team only. That is Deadpool, Dante, and Chun-Li. Sometimes I'll mix up Chun-Li, but it's like, yeah, for me it's just you have to have Dante and Deadpool in, really.
This is one of the things. If you're a Street Fighter fan, you'll love this game and you'll remember it really fondly. I have to say that actually, I'm not a massive 2D Street Fighter fan.
Ooh.
I always preferred 2D Mortal Kombat, and then whenever they moved to 3D, I preferred Tekken. But I seem to be in a bit of a minority here because everyone obviously loves Street Fighter. I mean, you love Street Fighter enough that you've got an arcade
one
machine.
over. But I do love Mortal Kombat, obviously playing Mortal Kombat 11 on Switch, tons of it as well.
That's not what we're
And I
talking
know
about
we're
here.
talking about we're talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and it's a brilliant fighter. And I believe just the aspect of having a 3v3 fighter where you have to go through each character.
I think the genius of Marvel vs. Capcom is just that for those who love Street Fighter, and there are millions of people who love Street Fighter.
Yes, there is. It's obviously still a massive thing, isn't it?
You can introduce a huge amount of new characters, as in the Marvel characters, which people are already familiar with.
Yeah,
and it just it's from that fan service kind of perspective, it's just a wonderful game for that.
It is. It's just a really wonderful game which you can obviously pick up, play, but the final boss of the arcade, Galactus, is hard because of one reason. It's not hard because obviously you're bad at it, but it's hard because it's just the fight where you have to go through all the clones and then you have to go through him. Sometimes you won't even be able to be hit, and it's just that time of I think 120 seconds you get to go through it, maybe 90, and it's it's weird, but it's a good thing because obviously you have your three fighters, each with their own moveset and everything. Is just really good.
And that's kind of all we're going to talk about. So now we're at the point in this video where, first things first, we're going to choose 4 for you to vote on.
Yes. We've
so
got one that we cannot dispute
Yeah.
of each other, and 2 that we have to agree on.
Right, so there'll be an end card at the end where you just click through your vote to whichever game you want to choose. The way that this works is the 4, I'll pick one that Aidan can't argue with, Aidan will pick one that I can't argue with, and then we'll have to agree on 2. For me, this one's really easy. Noire. Absolutely wonderful game.
Obviously, I can't dispute, but I wouldn't have disputed anyways. But, just for the love of it, I'm going to go for Gears 3.
Gears 3.
Yeah, it's just the amount of love that I've given it and how
So we now
it
have to
enticed
agree on
us.
a couple.
Yes, we do indeed.
I feel fairly confident that we can agree that Skyrim should be there.
Skyrim should be there. Just, even though that we haven't played much of it, it's like just the massive amount of fan reception for it. It's one of those games where it feels wrong to not have it on.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I think it has to be there because it's Skyrim.
Yeah, it's just one of those games where it has to be on
What
there.
else do I think?
See, I'd like Binding of Isaac to be there.
I know you would. I'd like Dark 3 to be there, but let's be fair. They're personal choices.
Yeah, their choices that if we
enough.
could have 2 non-disputable ones, they would be ours. But
I really like Skyward Sword.
I don't mind it. But it's just, is it really the best of 2011?
But I don't think
It's the best.
I don't think it's the best.
Oh, this is actually really hard.
I think I'd go for one of the PlayStation exclusives. I think Infamous 2 or Uncharted 3.
No, see, I didn't play as much Infamous 2, so I'd go Uncharted 3.
That's the choice then.
Because I played tons of it.
So the 4 choices are going to be Noire,
Obviously, you have Gears of War 3.
Gears of War 3, Skyrim, and Uncharted 3.
Yes.
So the end card's coming up very soon. Please click through your vote. In the meantime, please, if you could, share this video as far and wide as you can. We'd like to get as many people voting on this as possible. If you've liked what you've seen and you're new, please subscribe to the channel.
Obviously, like the video if you have enjoyed us talking about through these games, and if you have even if you have learned something potentially.
If you haven't already, please also go to the 2010 video and vote on that one. And hopefully...
And also, if you subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you're notified on when we post the 2012 one as well.
And hopefully we will see for that one, because we're going to have another vote on which was the best game of 2012.
And so on and so forth.
And so on and so forth. And at some point we are going to get
The
to our
inaugural best game of the
decade.
decade.